Protein buns are very hard to come by, and keto buns just don't have that authentic bun taste. So today, in the Anabolic Laboratory, we will be making high protein buns for a fraction of the price that you can eat like dinner rolls fresh out of the oven or with your favorite chicken sandwich recipe. My name is Nick. I have my master's in exercise physiology and I make high protein, delicious recipes, and I also do other science-backed fitness content as well. So if you're into that kind of thing, like this video and subscribe to the channel. If you're ready to butter some hot, delicious buns, then let's get into it. To get this recipe going, we have to do what is called a Tang method. I think that's how you pronounce it. I'm honestly not a professional baker or anything like that. I just test out a bunch of recipes until it tastes absolutely delicious. But I got this from Joshua Weissman's channel when he made buns, and it really did make a huge difference in my test trials. So we're gonna put our pan right on top of our scale, or a pot, whatever you wanna call it, and we're going to measure out 15 grams of water, 30 grams of milk, and 15 grams of flour. And before we heat this up, we're just gonna combine the ingredients so it's kind of like a smooth paste. Once everything is mixed together, we're gonna put this on a medium-low heat, and we're gonna keep stirring until it clumps up. It only takes about 90 seconds, maybe 2 minutes. It might not seem like it's coming together at first, but trust me, once it starts coming together, it comes together very, very quickly. Now, once it starts clumping up, like it is right now, I switch over to a rubber spatula and start mixing it, or else everything's gonna get caught inside of the whisk. And we're gonna keep mixing it until there's no more liquid left, and it's just like a Play-Doh type of consistency. And see how hot that is? We need that to cool down. That's why we do this first before we get the actual dough going. Next, we're gonna get our milk ready. And I have 1% milk. I like having a little bit of fat in there. Fat equals flavor, even when it comes to bread, but you can use a skim milk if you'd like. We're gonna put 130 grams in here. We're gonna heat this up to about 110 degrees. It only takes about 20 to 30 seconds in the microwave. It doesn't take very long. Now that that's ready to go, we are going to combine all of our dry ingredients, starting with all-purpose flour, 165 grams. I'm using a food processor here. You don't have to use a food processor. A bowl and a spoon works perfectly, but since I have the food processor, it makes it a little bit easier. That's the route I'm gonna go. Then we're gonna go with 45 grams of vital wheat gluten. This is also what I used in my 1-hour pizza recipe, and I will be using in several more recipes going forward. I'm working on a breadstick recipe. I'm working on a crazy calzone Little Caesars recipe. I'm working on several recipes that include bread, and if you add it the right way, there's really no difference between a regular piece of bread and one with the vital wheat gluten in it. I promise you. I also have malt powder. This helps with rising and also helps with brownness. You don't absolutely need this, but it does add a great effect to it. And literally, if you buy like $10 worth, you're going to have it for literally ever. I bought this over a year ago and we still have a ton left. 5 grams. I feel like this is a good time to introduce my new friend, Creamington. He's now part of the cream team. There might be some little barking and yelping throughout videos until he learns not to bark. Okay, bye. If you look on the side of any hamburger bun pack, there is about 2 or 3 grams of added sugar to each and every bun. So we're gonna do that here today. I'm gonna go with 18 grams of Swerve, but we're not adding any calories since it's Swerve. 3 grams of instant yeast. If you don't know if yours is alive or not, I would recommend putting it into the milk that we heated up to see if it still is alive, but I know mine's alive, so I'm gonna add it right into our mixture. Last but not least, 4 grams of salt. If you're doing this in a bowl, make sure you whisk this up and make sure it's thoroughly mixed, but I'm gonna do it in the food processor for about 10 to 12 seconds, and then we will get everything going. The first 2 wet ingredients we're gonna add right in. We're gonna use our Tang mix. The light butter only has half the calories of the real thing, and it tastes exactly like the real thing, not to mention fat equals flavor. And we're gonna add 15 grams of this mixture here today. We'll get our top on, and then while this starts mixing, I'm gonna put in the milk nice and slowly over about 10 seconds, and then I'm gonna let it mix for about 15 to 20 seconds or so until it all comes together. We're gonna take our mixture here, and we're just gonna plop it right on to our counter. As you can see, it's a little bit sticky, but this is perfect. I am telling you guys, there is nothing like a freshly baked bun that you know exactly what's in it and is literally soft as can be. Now we're just gonna knead our dough here for about 8 to 10 minutes. I usually listen to a YouTube video while I do this. And then we're going to put it in a lightly greased bowl. I usually use like oil spray. Spray the bowl, plop this in here and cover it up with cling wrap, and I will see you back in about an hour. It has been an hour and a half. Our ball has nearly doubled in size, and we're gonna push it down and we're gonna put it on top of our scale. And mine weighs 431 grams, so we're gonna divide that by 6 so we know how much each bun should weigh. However, I'm at the point where I don't care if one bun is a little bit bigger than another bun, so I typically slice it in half and then I slice those halves into thirds. And if one's a couple grams heavier, one's a couple grams lighter, it really doesn't matter to me. But you could also weigh each one out after you divide by 6. I have my sheet pan and I have a non-stick liner on it, and all I'm gonna do is get these balls into a circle. I make sure the bottom is closed, and then I press them down with my palm so they rise more like a bun, and they also cook and look more like a bun with our end product. This is perfect right here. I'm gonna lay that one on there, and then I'm gonna do this for all 6 buns. To do this little rounding technique, it takes a couple times to get used to, but once you get used to it, it is super simple. And again, I check the bottom, make sure it's nice and closed, and then I push down on my circle and try to make them like a bun. Again, it doesn't need to look perfect unless you're throwing a party or something and you want the aesthetics on point. What matters to me is the overall taste and quality of the bun itself. Also, if you want to make sure you don't have bubbles at the end of this, you would have to poke these with either a toothpick or a knife or something, because I do have 1 out of every 5 or 6 that will have a nice big air bubble in it, but usually I try to pop them before I let them rise again. Once you have your buns lined up as flat as you like them, as round as you like them, then I'm gonna take my other sheet tray and make sure this is covered, and I'm gonna let it sit for about 20 minutes. At that point, I'm gonna turn my oven on to 400 degrees to let it start preheating, and we're gonna wait another 25 minutes, so 45 minutes in total. If you don't have another sheet tray, then what you can do is just cover the buns with a towel. As long as they have, a damp towel should I say, as long as they have some moisture so they can rise and they can be nice and fluffy once we're done. I just started preheating my oven, and one thing I did forget to mention is you will want to put a cast iron pan in there if you have one. We put this on the bottom rack and it helps with the rising, just for a better end product. This is not absolutely necessary, but it definitely does help. If we want that beautiful brown top on each one of our buns, we gotta do an egg wash on the top. We only add about an actual gram of egg, so it really doesn't add any calories at all, but it adds a ton of brownness and flavor. Now, I usually add about a teaspoon of water into here for this egg wash, so I'm just gonna run it under the sink for just a half a second or so. And we're gonna whisk this together. Let's check out what our buns are looking like. Beautiful. Absolutely gorgeous. All right, we're gonna take a brush here and we're gonna wipe on a nice thin layer across the top of these buns. All of our buns are topped. The last thing we need to do, which is optional, is add some sesame seeds. I really haven't been doing it lately. I did it the first couple attempts, but this is just personal preference. And for this example, I will put some on half of them. Now we're all ready to put these in. So I'm gonna put these above where we put our cast iron pan. I'm gonna close that up real quick, and I'm gonna get about 2 to 3 pieces of ice, and I'm gonna add them to the cast iron to get a nice steam effect, which will help with that spring pop or spring rise or whatever. After about 7 or 8 minutes, I'm going to just flip the entire pan around so it bakes evenly, and then I will see you back in about 14 to 16 minutes, depending on your oven. Just keep an eye on it. It smells like a goddamn Toronto bakery in this bitch right now. And I mean, what more can you ask for? Now I got on my gloves, so these aren't sticking at all, as you can see. I'm gonna put these on the rack to dry. So I'm gonna leave this on there for about 5 minutes to cool down, and I will see you right back. While we're waiting for these to cool down, let's just go over the macros real quick. For each bun, we are looking at 150 calories, 10 protein, 27 carb, and 1.5 grams of fat. These buns are at least twice as good as the ones at the store and have less calories than most of them. And even for the comparative ones at the store, they are about 2.5 times more protein while also being way more tasty. What I've been really liking to do when these are freshly baked is tear one of them open and look at this. I mean, unbelievable. And I take some of my light butter, it really only takes a couple grams of it, and putting it right on top here, just like as if we were at a restaurant. And there is zero guilt with it because these have 10 grams of protein per bun. Even for about 450 calories of buns, we're getting 30 grams of protein, which for a real bun that tastes like real bread, that is literally beyond flavorful. And also, by the way, the ones at the store that are the same amount of calories weigh about 20 grams less. So these are also more filling. It's just, you can't lose with these things, I'm telling you. For about 20 minutes of work, you get delicious, fresh baked buns that you know exactly what is in it and can also be used in a variety of ways. Please subscribe to the channel so you see what recipe is used with these in the coming weeks. I guarantee you will not want to miss it. Use any of my codes down in the description below to help support the channel. And until next time, I will see you in that next one. Deuces.